If you're receiving SNAP benefits or have family members who rely on food assistance, this video is something you can't miss. In 2025, the SNAP program is entering its most significant transformation period in many years, with 7 major changes that could directly impact meals, income, and basic rights of millions of American families. In this video, based on official sources, I'll analyze the 7 most important changes, so you can proactively stay informed, understand your benefits, and best protect yourself and your loved ones. The first change concerns states proposing bans on purchasing soda and candy with SNAP starting March 2025. The federal government has allowed states to ban the purchase of certain foods like soda, candy, and sugary snacks using the SNAP program, which provides nutritional assistance for low-income individuals. This regulation aims to return SNAP to its goal of providing healthy food, especially as obesity and diabetes rates increase in poor communities. For families like Maria's, SNAP isn't just food support, but also their last option to maintain some freedom in their meals. Last week at the supermarket checkout, Maria was shocked when the machine rejected her sugar-free soda and Kit Kat bar for her daughter. She wasn't aware that the state had quietly updated their banned list, and those small treats were no longer considered eligible food. States are acting quickly. Idaho has passed legislation banning soda and candy starting July 1, 2025, pending approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Texas goes further, proposing to also eliminate potato chips, cookies, and energy drinks. Indiana, under Governor Mike Braun's leadership, is not only banning candy and soda, but also reapplying asset tests and tightening work requirements for SNAP recipients. In Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is straightforward. Taxpayers are paying for poor health. The state's plan, beginning July 2026, will eliminate all sodas, even calorie-free ones, along with nutritionally poor fruit drinks and most candies, affecting over 350,000 SNAP users. From a policy perspective, these changes make sense. Using SNAP to purchase sugary foods has long been controversial, and as healthcare costs rise, states want to transform this program into a tool for improving community health, not just preventing hunger. But for people like Maria, the issue isn't just nutrition, but clarity. Many SNAP recipients, especially the elderly, don't have stable internet access or the ability to understand complex regulations. They often only discover changes when their card is rejected at the counter. These seemingly small moments make them feel abandoned, craving not just food, but transparent information and support. The goal of encouraging healthy eating is legitimate, but this policy risks failure without practical support. Banning candy or soda doesn't automatically lead to better diets if fresh, affordable food remains out of reach. Elderly SNAP recipients need more than bans. They need nutritional education, opportunities to buy healthy food, and easy-to-understand guidance. Some argue that they can still buy sweets with cash, but for those living on benefits, this argument only highlights the gap. The same item, permitted for those with income but forbidden for the poor, not because the item is wrong, but because they don't belong to the allowed group. The second major change in the SNAP program in 2025 is the tightening of eligibility conditions, an adjustment directly affecting thousands of immigrants and low-income workers across America. Beyond food bans, SNAP faces another major change in 2025: stricter eligibility conditions. From late April, undocumented immigrants, including those waiting for legal processing, will lose benefits, along with some legal residents who previously qualified. States are also expanding work requirements. People aged 18 to 49 without dependents must work at least 20 hours weekly or participate in vocational training, or lose benefits after 3 months in each 3-year period. For Rosa, a single mother in California, this is a major shock. For 3 years, she has relied on SNAP to feed her 2 American citizen children, working temporary jobs and always updating her paperwork on time. But last week, a letter informed her that her residency status no longer meets federal requirements. The policy's goal is clear: protect the budget, increase efficiency and benefit distribution, and encourage people toward self-reliance. But for those living in precarious circumstances, a change on paper can trigger a chain of changes in real life, sometimes very difficult to adapt to quickly. The third major change announced by the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, on April 4, 2025, directly addresses a persistent issue with severe consequences: delays in processing SNAP applications and recertifications in many states. On April 4, 2025, the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, announced another major change in the SNAP program, targeting a persistent but serious problem: delays in processing applications and benefit recertifications in many states. According to federal regulations, states must complete SNAP application processing within 30 days for most households, and only 7 days for emergency cases, such as families who suddenly lose jobs, lack food, or are affected by natural disasters. However, reality is very different. Many places fail to meet this deadline, leaving thousands of families, especially the elderly, disabled, and single parents, facing food shortages precisely when they need help most. Facing this situation, the USDA has warned states that if they don't improve processing speeds, the federal government will intervene strongly, from investigations to suspending administrative support and publicly listing violating states. The USDA emphasizes, taxpayer money must be used transparently. We don't accept poor management in an essential program like SNAP. From a management perspective, this move shows efforts to increase accountability and fix system gaps. However, states also face major challenges: staff shortages, overloaded systems, and limited budgets, making rapid application processing a real challenge. What's needed right now isn't just shorter waiting times, but improved information, technical support, and staff training to ensure people don't get stuck in bureaucratic cycles, losing timely access to assistance. The fourth change in the SNAP program in 2025 is a notable tightening from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA. Increased monitoring of retail stores accepting SNAP payments. Under new regulations, stores found charging excessive prices, selling ineligible products, or committing SNAP fraud will face severe consequences, from program suspension, monetary fines, to criminal prosecution. The USDA is also warning neighboring stores if one in the area violates rules, aiming to increase deterrence and protect consumers. For regulatory agencies, this is a necessary step to ensure transparency and prevent exploitation of welfare programs funded by taxpayer money. However, for SNAP users, especially in rural or less populated areas, this regulation could create difficulties. Many people only have a few small stores near home to buy food. If the only store accepting SNAP is suspended, they must travel farther, spending time and effort, possibly even losing access to fresh food. A mother in rural Kentucky confides, "The store near my home is the only place I can swipe my SNAP card within 10 miles. If it gets blocked, I don't know how to manage." Therefore, while fraud control is necessary, states need to prepare support solutions, such as identifying alternative stores, providing transportation, or expanding SNAP acceptance points. Ensuring transparency isn't just about preventing misconduct, but also protecting innocent people's access to food, those who depend on SNAP to survive day to day. Change number 5. Proposal to expand SNAP for striking workers. The fifth change being considered by the U.S. Congress could open a new door for tens of thousands of worker families caught between strikes and financial crisis. In late March 2025, a group of representatives reintroduced the Food Secure Strikers Act with a clear goal: allowing workers participating in strikes to still receive food assistance from the SNAP program, as long as their families meet income requirements. Under current regulations, most striking workers don't qualify for SNAP because they're considered to have voluntarily quit work. This means that just weeks after stopping work to fight for better wages or working conditions, many can no longer afford basic food for themselves and their families. Meanwhile, unions don't always have sufficient budgets for long-term support, and the reality is that many workers must reduce their food and housing needs to the minimum just to continue the strike. The new bill is supported by many national union organizations. Its content aims to eliminate this barrier-like exclusion while making clear that if a household meets income requirements, they should have access to SNAP, regardless of whether any member is participating in a strike. This will help protect family members, especially children and the elderly, from being indirectly affected by an individual decision. Currently, this proposal is still awaiting congressional review, but its message has touched many: that the right to access food, especially during hardship, shouldn't be taken away just because a worker is standing up demanding better working conditions. If passed, this will be a humanitarian step, not only for workers but for entire communities living on the thin line between having enough to eat and going hungry. The sixth change in the SNAP program is receiving special attention from both citizens and welfare organizations, as a new bill named the Hunger-Free Future Act was introduced to the U.S. Congress on April 2, 2025. This bill is designed to prevent sudden SNAP budget cuts during fiscal adjustments, especially last-minute changes that are often unpredictable. The core of the bill is protecting the Thrifty Food Plan, or TFP, the basis that the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, uses to determine annual SNAP benefit levels. Under current law, the TFP is updated in June and applied from October 1st, reflecting the actual cost of maintaining a healthy diet on a limited budget. If food costs increase, SNAP benefits should theoretically increase too, but political reality shows this plan has been unexpectedly adjusted as a way to indirectly cut benefits. The new act requires that any changes to the TFP must not cause increased hunger among low-income households. This means if the law passes, SNAP recipients can feel more confident that benefits will accurately reflect actual costs and tend to increase rather than shrink due to budget reasons. In the context of the Republican-led House proposing to cut up to $230 billion from SNAP in the next decade, mainly through adjusting the Thrifty Food Plan, this bill is seen as a protective shield for long-term benefits. For people relying on SNAP to maintain basic meals, it's not just a legislative proposal, but hope for stability in a volatile future. The seventh change in the 2025 Nutrition Assistance Program is good news for many families with young school-aged children. This summer, a program called Summer EBT will provide $120 per child through food payment cards, giving parents additional support when children are on summer break and no longer receiving free school lunches as they do during the school year. In most cases, families currently receiving SNAP, Medicaid, or school meal subsidies will be automatically enrolled. However, processing times and application requirements may vary by state. For example, in Michigan, the deadline to apply for the $120 payment in May is April 15th. Not every state participates in this program, and not every school automatically processes paperwork for parents. If you're unsure whether your child qualifies, the simplest way is to call the school and ask specifically. Some states that didn't participate last year have newly registered this year. The map of participating states is updated on the official program website. If your state is on the green list, this benefit will reach your family this summer. But if it's in the brown group, not participating, unfortunately, this support won't apply in 2025. With rising living costs, the $120 amount, though small, can help offset some additional food expenses during summer vacation, a time when many low-income families must work harder to ensure adequate meals for their children. The 7 changes in the SNAP program in 2025 aren't just technical adjustments on paper. They are policy decisions that can directly affect each meal, each food choice, and the monthly sense of security for millions of low-income families across America. If you or your loved ones receive SNAP, the most important thing right now is update your information early, understand your rights clearly, and don't hesitate to ask questions when something isn't clear. And to continue accompanying you in understanding welfare policies, see you in the next video.